Hi, this is Sean Graver, and there's a new book out that you may be interested in. It's called We Must Shoot: The Life and Art of Gary Graver. And it's written by Andrew J. Rausch, Dave Wain, and Matty Budrewicz. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. This book is a unique biography, though, about my father, Gary Graver, that looks at more than just his cinematic work. It's also an oral history of his life from the perspective of some of the people who were closest to him. You may know Andy from some of his dozens of other terrific books. Dave and Matty are film critics over at the schlockpit.com. Now, if you knew Gary Graver or just knew of him, I think you'll find this book fascinating. Andy Rausch was inspired to write this book after he had published another book previously called Making Movies with Orson Welles. And this is more of a memoir-style look at what it was like to make movies with Orson. So Gary Graver was Orson's cameraman, collaborator, and friend for the last 15 years of Orson's life. Now, during the process of creating that first book, Andy learned a lot about Gary's life away from the lights and cameras. The broken marriages, financial stresses, and betrayal from trusted colleagues, and the friendships that survived it all. Andy first contacted me a few years ago about his idea for this project, and I wholeheartedly supported it. I knew that it would bring some things out in the open that my father probably would have preferred to stay private. But I knew Andy's heart was to honor a man who worked so hard to fulfill a dream and who lived with a single-minded focus of making movies. You know, even I learned a few things about my father that I didn't know, but I think that's true for most people in our lives. We all have stories, details, or secrets even that we would prefer not to share with the world. However, these are the pieces of his life that made it so unique. You know, whether he was working with superstars or porn stars, he was the same guy. He was there to make movies and make them as good as possible with the resources available. You know, this book it's intimate, it's unfiltered, it's very real. You may be surprised or even shocked at times, but Gary Graver was one of a kind. He was a loyal friend and a dedicated filmmaker, and a man who never got to see his greatest film completed, The Other Side of the Wind. It wouldn't reach theater screens and the Netflix library until 2018, 48 years after production started. I think Andy, Dave, and Matty did a wonderful job putting this book together, and I encourage you to read it. I have no doubt that you will know my father better than you thought possible, and my hope is that you will admire him as much as I do.